Good afternoon and welcome. I'm sure that you'll all agree that we're really living in challenging times. COVID-19 has had an immense impact on individuals, on businesses, and on economies. I am a wealth management and trust professional with over 30 years' experience in the industry. In my view, wealth is about more than money, and legacy is about more than succession structures. You see, there's many examples of families throughout the world who have more than enough money, sometimes they're even billionaires, but they're not wealthy because they're not in harmony with themselves, with their family, and with the world around them. You may be here today and you've had a particularly difficult time during this lockdown. Maybe you've been feeling that life really is a struggle. Perhaps you're not sure how you can learn from your experience and you don't have clear goals. Or maybe you do have clear goals, but they seem unachievable. Or perhaps you're so focused on the goals in one area of your life that you never quite seem to find time for other areas. What if you could have it all? Imagine you're the best version of yourself, that you have complete clarity on where you are heading, that you have absolute certainty of the outcome of each area of your life, and you wake up every day feeling energized and full of joy and peace. Would you agree it would be good to have a strategy to take you from here to here, yes or no? And when do you think it would be good to have that strategy? Do you think perhaps in 5 or 10 years' time? Or would it be good to have that strategy right now? I'm here today to talk to you about creating your destiny, because I believe you deserve to have an extraordinary life. So with your permission, I would like to share with you today a unique system called the Rainbow of Empowerment. Without this, you're leaving your life to chance. But with this, you are in charge of your destiny. What am I talking about here? I'm talking about reflection. You may be thinking, what do you mean by reflection? I mean, reflect upon the direction of your life. I believe that we need to work out where we are now in order to work out where we want to go. Would you agree, yes or no? If you follow Tony Robbins as I do, he says that the only way to make a real change is to raise your standards for yourself. Let's think about that for a minute. We all have a minimum standard below which we feel is not acceptable. So whether it's in your personal grooming, in your fitness, in your health, in your relationships, we all allow ourselves to slip, let things slide, and we rationalize that it's okay, it's not that so bad, until we hit that lower end of the trading band, if you like. We hit that minimum standard and then we do something about it, because our standard is we don't allow ourselves to go below that. So what Tony's saying there is raise the bar, raise the minimum standard that you find acceptable, and that's the way to make real change. Everyone has their own story. We have good chapters, we have bad chapters. Think of your life as a book that is not yet finished. You are the author of that book, but you're also the main character. So what type of story is your book at the moment? So if you agree, I'd like you to think about a few questions. You can perhaps close your eyes, take a deep breath, maybe put your hand on your heart, just take a couple of deep breaths. Okay, and open your eyes and just jot down the answers to these questions. If you'd like a bit more time to think about it and you'd like to jot down the question itself, then by all means do so. So what challenges have you faced during the circuit breaker? What challenges have you faced during the circuit breaker? What have you missed? What have you missed during the circuit breaker? Perhaps you've missed meeting friends or going out for dinner. What have you missed during the circuit breaker? What emotions have you felt on a regular basis? What emotions have you felt on a regular basis? What have you learnt about yourself? What have you learnt about yourself? What have you learnt about your relationships? What have you learnt about your relationships? What have you enjoyed during the circuit breaker? What have you enjoyed during the circuit breaker? Now let's think about life before COVID, if we can remember that. It seems like a long time ago. And let's ask yourself this question. Which areas of your life is there a gap between where you are now and where you'd like to be? Where is there a gap between where you are now and where you would like to be? What disturbs you about where you are now? What disturbs you about where you are now? Be honest with yourself. You're not sharing these answers with anybody, so just be honest with yourself. What are you missing out on by staying at the current level? What are you missing out on by staying at the current level? Imagine you stay with the same story without making any changes, but everything is amplified. Imagine you're looking in the mirror in 5 years' time. How do you look? How do you feel? How about in 10 years' time? Every interaction we have in the world creates the direction of our story. I believe that we are each in control and can make small changes now to change the next chapter and to change the direction of our story. So here's the point, you may want to write this down. You are the master of your destiny. You are the master of your destiny. The only way to make a real change is to raise your standards for yourself. I'll say that again. The only way to make a real change is to raise your standards for yourself.